that's better. I can see what I'm talking
Hi.
I'm H. Brown, I'm a member. All that stuff. You
Yeah,
want ID anyway.
but you have to have had. Did you buy a ticket for the event?
No, I get in all the events.
Sorry.
You can refuse me service, well, that would be really a good story.
Let me ask.
Say H. Brown. Manny says okay.
We're standing right here.
Anyway, I thank you for joining us, Manny, for this live taping of my New York Magazine podcast, On with Kara Swisher. Very excited to be here with my guest today, Representative Katie Porter. She's been Congresswoman since 2019, first representing California's 45th district, and now since 2023, its 47th district, thanks to redistricting. I want to focus on what's next in the campaign, but I first do have to ask about the news of Silicon Valley Bank and the banking turmoil and some news. You tweeted that the Silicon Valley collapse was totally avoidable. Tell me what that means to you.
Well, banking failures are bad. Let's just start there. And I think it's important to actually say that, because banking, once you get to a banking failure, there are only bad options. And so it's really, really important that you try to avoid them. Mm-hmm. And we know how to do this. We actually, as a country, have a really good history of avoiding banking failures. We've had whole years, year after year, in which we've had none. But the answer here is to have good, what we call prudential regulation, making sure that banks, not just telling them, making sure that banks are planning for liquidity events, that is a run on the bank, making sure that banks are thinking about taking appropriate risks with their depositors' money. And after Dodd-Frank, after the financial crisis, we passed Dodd-Frank. And the Dodd-Frank Act put higher capital holding requirements, greater liquidity requirements, stress tests on banks, including banks the size of and including Silicon Valley Bank. That was Dodd-Frank. Along comes Trump and the House Republicans, 2017, 2018, and they get 17 Democrats in the Senate and 33 Democrats in the House to join with them to gut those banking regulations, essentially saying these good rules, they were such a good idea, but never mind. That banking failures don't happen, do they? Does anyone remember a banking failure? And they gutted those rules for banks of the exact size of Silicon Valley Bank. So Elizabeth Warren and I have a bill.
Yes, you have.
It's called, very clever, very proud because I got to name it, Secure Viable Banking. Get it? SVB, the Secure Viable Banking Act. Yeah. And what it would do is simply reverse the crappy provisions. There's no other word for it.
I'm gonna
in this.
There's no actual proof that the regulatory rollback is what the cause of it is. It's a pretty basic cause of what happened. They were investing in very safe treasuries. They sort of broke the basic banking law of borrow short and lend long, and they were stuck in these treasuries and had to sell them off very quickly when the run on the bank was started by nervous venture capitalists. But federal regulators were in there warning them of their problems several different times.
Not loudly enough.
Okay.
I mean, so I think this is a very damning article from the New York Times today.